Imagine a door slightly open in front of you. On the other side is that life just a bit more orderly and lighter that you've been postponing. It isn't a perfect world. It's a simple room where the important things are in their place. Procrastination is that hallway before the door, full of echoes, doubts, and small shadows that make you circle around. Today, we're going to cross it, not with pushing or with speeches that exhaust you, but with a gentle guide that turns weight into movement. Stay with me from start to finish and let your body learn a path you can repeat later without my voice. Breathe deeply through your nose, counting in your mind to 4, and release through your mouth, counting to 6. Do it again, softly, unhurried. With each exhale, imagine dropping a stone from your pocket. You don't have to empty all your pockets at once. Just drop one stone now. Notice your posture and soften your jaw. Feel your body's real support on the chair, the bed, or the floor. When the body feels the ground, the mind calms a little and stops inventing dangers to pull you away from what matters. You are not lazy or broken. You are human, and your system learns through signals. Today, you're going to give it clear signals. Think of the thing you've been putting off. It could be replying to a message, opening a file, washing a few dishes, making the bed, going for a short walk, sending a proposal, studying a topic, tidying part of the room, making a call. Don't choose several, choose one. The one that once finished lets you breathe a little easier. Picture that task as if you were holding it in the palm of your hand. It's smaller than it seems when you stop looking at it from far away. Bring it closer without fear. Say softly, I can handle this if I turn it into a first gesture. Procrastination feeds on 3 things: intimidating size, fear of failing, and lack of clarity. We're going to disarm it step by step. First, the size. Take that task and break it into the smallest piece that still makes sense. If it's writing, the piece could be a single useful sentence. If it's tidying, the piece could be clearing one corner of the table. If it's exercising, the piece could be putting on your shoes and stretching for a couple of minutes. If it's calling, the piece could be drafting a greeting and a brief reason. If the piece still feels heavy, break it again until your body says yes. That yes is the right size. Breathe again. Inhale to 4, release to 6. Place your hand over your chest and tell yourself, I speak to myself with respect, not bullying. Hard demands stall. Tenderness with direction moves. Now to fear of failure. Ask yourself, what would be an acceptable micro-failure today? Acceptable means it still respects me and moves me forward. For example, if writing a page scares you, an acceptable micro-failure is 2 loose idea lines. If tidying everything overwhelms you, an acceptable micro-failure is clearing 5 things. If you fear the call will be awkward, an acceptable micro-failure is drafting the first message and having it ready to send. The acceptable micro-failure turns off perfectionism because it lets you start without the burden of proving greatness. Greatness will be the sum of many small, quiet wins. Now, clarity. You'll define where, when, and how you'll do that piece. The where could be the dining table, your desk, the edge of the bed, the hallway, the kitchen, the corner park. The when will be as soon as this audio ends, or in the first opening right after this moment. The how will be without frills, with whatever you have on hand, presence over perfect tools. Repeat with me, I make it small, I do it now, I do it well. Feel how that phrase drops inside, like a key turning in a lock. Watch your mind for a few seconds. Sometimes when you decide to move forward, objections appear. I don't feel like it. I have no energy. It's not the right time. I should tidy 1,000 things first. I'm not ready. What if it doesn't work? Don't argue. Thank the attempt to protect you and answer with a clear formula. Thanks for the warning. Today I walk small, and I'll verify with my own body. Then return to your breath and the peace you chose. You're training a muscle. You don't need to convince yourself of anything. Just do today's rep. Let's warm up the system with a micro-physical sequence. Standing or seated, wherever you are, roll your shoulders back a few times. Open and close your hands. Stretch your neck gently to the sides, and notice the spot where you can breathe a little more freely. Now press the soles of your feet firmly into the floor for a moment, then release. That push switches on a safety anchor. Your body receives the message that there is direction. That message is gold when the mind scatters. Now we're going to visualize the minimal action as if you were already doing it. Close your eyes if you can, or fix your gaze on a point. Watch your hands beginning. If it's writing, you see yourself opening the file, typing the title and the first line. If it's tidying, you see yourself taking the first object, deciding whether it stays or goes, and placing it where it belongs. If it's moving, you see yourself tying your laces, opening the door, or unrolling a mat. If it's calling, you see yourself taking a deep breath, dialing greeting clearly. The brain loves mental rehearsal. When you do it slowly and without noise, you reduce startup friction. Stay with that mini scene for a few seconds until the body says, I get it. Bring your attention to your inner voice. Enter with firm kindness. Tell yourself short phrases that don't sound like scolding. I begin with a 1-minute action. I allow myself to do it imperfectly. Finishing matters more than looking good. If I stop, I return without guilt. Repeat this small creed until it feels like yours. Procrastination melts when the way you treat yourself improves. No one flourishes under insults. You won't either. Today you choose your own leadership, steady and guiding. If you catch yourself opening another mental tab, heading back to the fridge, checking your phone, use a simple rule. I name what I'm doing, and I return. For example, now I got distracted looking out the window. Now I return to the first line. Now I grab the phone. Now I set it face down and go back to the table. Say it softly and with light humor. Humor dissolves guilt and brings you back to the present without drama. Let's pause for a long breath. Inhale through the nose to 4. Exhale through the mouth to 6. With each out-breath, imagine you're pulling a thread from the heavy blanket that covered you. Underneath there's a clear table and a blank page. On that page, you'll write a single line declaring your step. Write it in your mind, or jot it down if your notebook is with you. Today, I will do this small, and I will finish it. That line is your contract with yourself for this stretch. If you feel comfortable, say your name in that declaration, so your identity aligns with your act. Identities are built with evidence. Today you'll gift yourself the evidence that you follow through. Now here's a trick that frees the start. It's called preparing the ground. Clear from the path any object that pulls you elsewhere, and leave only what you need for the first step. If you're going to write, close irrelevant windows and leave the document open. If you're going to tidy, set out a bag and a box and start with the chosen corner. If you're going to call, pull up the number and have the message ready. Breathe and press send or dial. If you're going to move, put on your shoes, fill your water bottle, and head to the door. Preparing the ground tells your brain there are no extra decisions, just this start. Let me talk about time for a moment. Procrastination turns minutes into mountains. Today we're going to turn a mountain into a short path. Make an agreement with yourself to begin with a brief stretch. A brief stretch can be a couple of minutes of uninterrupted action. When those minutes end, you'll honestly assess whether to continue a bit more or to stop there, leaving a clear trace of a beginning. Curiously, once you've started, the body often wants to keep going. If it doesn't, you've still won because you trained the starting muscle. Tomorrow will be easier. Now visualize the ending. You see yourself saving the file, throwing out what's left for the trash, sending the message, marking done in your notebook, breathing with a lighter face. Watch that mini closing scene. The brain needs closure to free up space. When you close, you rest better and allow yourself to enjoy without the whip of what's pending. Closure also means naming what you accomplished precisely. Today I cleaned a corner. Today I wrote 3 lines. Today I walked a few minutes. Today I made the call. Today I kept my word in small. If the temptation appears to compare your step with someone else's summit, return to this truth. The only step you can take is yours. One humble step, well taken, is worth more than an ocean of intentions. You're becoming a person who trusts their own word. That trust doesn't need applause. It's felt in the chest as a gentle warmth that stays with you while you do other things. Before we seal, let's do a compassion exercise that feeds discipline. Place one hand over your heart and the other over your abdomen. Tell yourself, thank you for trying again. Thank you for choosing to begin. Thank you for teaching me that big things are born from small ones. Breathe with those words. Feel how your body responds by lowering the tone of fear and raising the tone of presence. Now declare your immediate plan. Say it softly, naming the action and the place. In a few minutes, I'll open the file at the dining table and write one clear sentence. In a few minutes, I'll clear the left corner of the desk and put away 5 objects. In a few minutes, I'll step to the door and walk slowly down the hallway or around the block. In a few minutes, I'll dial the number and say I need 5 minutes to coordinate. Adapt the phrase to your situation. It doesn't have to sound elegant, it has to sound true. If you live with someone or there's noise around, negotiate a micro block. Ask respectfully for a short stretch to start and offer your full presence afterward for the rest. Saying it clearly prevents resentment and trains you to ask for what you need. You can also turn on focus mode and leave your phone far away. A nearby phone is like a revolving door to postponement. You're not stepping through it today. Today you're walking straight toward your slightly open door. Let's seal this with a conscious breath and 3 phrases of quiet power. Inhale through your nose to 4, exhale through your mouth to 6. Repeat. Now say this silently with me. I start small and I finish. Action creates evidence, and evidence creates confidence. If I stop, I return without guilt. Once more, feeling each word find its place. I start small and I finish. Action creates evidence, and evidence creates confidence. If I stop, I return without guilt. Before I go, imagine yourself crossing the door you saw at the start. You push it open with your left hand, a warm light comes in, and a simple table appears, with your task in its small, manageable human form. You sit down, you take a breath, you do what you said you would, not as punishment, but as a gift. When you finish, you barely smile, a small smile your body understands. You file the page or close the document, glance around for a second, thank yourself for choosing you, and stand up with a new certainty. You can, and you can, because you chose to start, not because the fear disappeared. If this audio helped you, subscribe and save the Focus and Habits playlist. Tell me in the comments what your minimal action was and where you did it. Your example might be the thread someone else needs to pull to get out of their knot. Tomorrow there'll be a new episode to keep strengthening your steady discipline and your clear mind. For now, go take your small step. Come back later and take another. Step by step, you'll see how the door not only opens, it stops making noise. I'll be here waiting.